Imagine this. You are sitting in a cafe connected to a free Wi-Fi. You open your email, maybe log into your social media, or maybe even your bank account. But what if I told you someone sitting just a few tables away could potentially be trying to spy on your data? Sounds scary, right? Today I am going to explain how hackers actually think, how cyber attacks happen, and how you can protect yourself online. Before we continue, I want to make one thing clear. This video is only for educational purposes. The goal is not to teach illegal hacking. The goal is to understand how cyber attacks work and how we can protect ourselves from them. Because today, cybersecurity awareness is more important than ever. When most people hear the word hacking, they imagine something like a movie scene. A person sitting in the dark room wearing a hoodie, typing extremely fast on a keyboard while green code runs across the screen. But in reality, hacking is usually much simpler than that. The real meaning of hacking is finding weakness in a system. A system can be many different things. It could be a website, a computer, a mobile phone, or even a network. Hackers look for mistakes, small security gaps, or things for developers' mistakes who forgot to secure properly. And once they find those weaknesses, they try to take advantage of them. But here's something interesting. Many cyber attacks don't start with complicated software or advanced hacking tools. Instead, they start with something very simple: human mistakes. For example, weak passwords, clicking suspicious links, or downloading unknown files. This is why cybersecurity experts often say something very interesting. The weakest part of most systems is not the computer, it's the human being using it. Now that we understand what actually hacker really means, let's talk about something interesting. Not all hackers are criminals. In fact, there are three main types of hackers. The first type is called white hat hackers. These are also known as ethical hackers. White hat hackers actually work for companies and organizations to help improve security. Their job is to test systems and find vulnerabilities before criminals do. For example, big companies like banks, social media platforms, and technology companies often hire ethical hackers to test their security. If a weakness is discovered, the company can fix it before attackers exploit it. The second type is black hat hackers. These are the hackers most people think about. Black hat hackers break into systems illegally. They may try to steal personal information, passwords, financial data, or sensitive company information. Their goal is usually money, power, or causing damage. And finally, there are grey hat hackers. Grey hat hackers operate somewhere between the two. Sometimes they discover vulnerabilities without permission, but instead of using them for harm, they may report the issue later. However, their actions are still considered risky because they access system without authorization. Let's talk about one of the biggest security mistakes people make online, which is passwords. Millions of people around the world still use extremely weak passwords. For example, passwords like 126, password, or etc. are still among the most commonly used passwords. These passwords might look simple and easy to remember, but they are also extremely easy for the attackers to guess. Hackers often use automated programs and try thousands or even millions of password combinations very quickly. This type of attack is commonly known as a brute force attack. In simple terms, the computer keeps trying different passwords again and again until the correct one is found. If your password is something simple like your name, your birthday, or a common word, it might take only a few seconds for the computer to guess it. And this is why cybersecurity experts always recommend using strong and unique passwords. A strong password usually includes a mix of uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and special symbols. For example, a password like A9 exclamation mark K capital 3 at the rate P and X is much harder for attackers to guess compared to something like 1 to 6. Another important tips is to never use the same password on multiple websites because if one website get hacked, attackers might try the same password on your other account and that could pull all your online account at risk. Now let's talk about another very common cyber attack called phishing. Phishing is when attackers try to trick people into giving away their personal information. Instead of breaking into a system directly, they try to fool the user. For example, imagine you receive an email that looks like it came from your bank. The email might say something like, "Your bank account has been temporarily locked. Please click the link below to verify your identity." At first glance, the email might look completely real. It might have bank logos, professional formatting, and even a message that creates urgency. But if you click that link, it might take you a fake website that looks exactly like the real bank website. Now, when you enter your name and password there, the attackers can capture that information. And just like that, they gain access to your bank. This is why cybersecurity experts always recommend being very careful when unexpected emails or messages that ask your personal information. If you ever receive a suspicious message, the safest option is to visit the official website directly instead of clicking the link in the email. A small moment of caution can prevent a very big problem. Cyber attacks don't only happen to individuals. Even some of the largest technology companies in the world have experienced major security breaches. One of the biggest examples was the Yahoo data breach. In this attack, hackers managed to gain access to information from more than 3 billion user accounts. This included things like names, email addresses, and encrypted passwords. It became one of the largest data breaches in the internet history. Another well known incident was the Twitter Bitcoin scam. In this attack, hackers managed to take control of several high profile accounts. These included accounts belonging to famous people and large companies. The attackers then posted messages asking people to send cryptocurrency with the promise that they would send back double the amount. Of course, that promise was completely fake. Many people, unfortunately, lost money during that scam. These examples show something very important that even companies with massive security teams can still face cyber attacks. That's why cybersecurity awareness is very important for everyone, not just big companies. So, now that we understand how cyber attacks can happen, the next question is very important. How can we protect ourselves online? Fortunately, there are some simple cybersecurity habits that can make a big difference. The first and most important tip is to always use strong and unique passwords. Avoid simple passwords like your name, birthday, or common words. Instead, try to create passwords that include a mix of letters, numbers, and special symbols. The second tip is to enable something called two-factor authentication. This means that even if someone discovers your password, they still need a second verification code to access your account. Many websites and apps support this feature today. Another important habit is to be cautious with links and attachments. If you receive a message asking you to click a link or download something unexpectedly, always double check before opening it. Cyber attackers often rely on people clicking things without thinking. It's also very important to keep your device and software updated. Software updates often include security fixes that protect against newly discovered vulnerabilities. And finally, be careful when using public Wi-Fi networks. Public networks can be sometimes less secure, so avoid accessing sensitive accounts if you are not sure the network is safe. Following these simple steps can significantly reduce the risk of becoming a victim of cyber attacks. After learning about cyber attacks and security risk, some people start wondering something interesting. Can I learn ethical hacking myself? The answer is yes. Many cybersecurity professionals actually started as curious beginners who wanted to understand how systems work. If you are interested in learning ethical hacking, the first step is to build a strong foundation in technology. For example, learning about the computer networks is very important. Understanding how computers communicate with each other help you see how attacks can happen. Another important skill is learning Linux, which is widely used cybersecurity and penetration testing. And programming languages like Python are also very helpful for automation, scripting, and building security tools. But remember something very important. The goal of ethical hacking is not to break systems for harm. The goal is to identify weaknesses and help make system more secure. Ethical hackers play a very important role in protecting companies, organizations, and everyday internet users. And that brings us to the end of this video. Today we talked about how hackers actually think, how cyber attacks happens, and some simple ways to protect ourselves online. Cybersecurity is becoming more important every single day. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like the video and subscribe to this channel. For more content about technology, cybersecurity, and programming. And let me know in the comments, would you like to see a video about how hackers use Python? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.